Welcome to 2025, and I know as a leader you have goals and objectives and projects that you want to accomplish this year, and I'm here to help you. This is Coaching for Growth. My name is Carl Peterson, and today I want to talk to you about re-engaging those that you lead that are disengaged. How do you re-engage disengaged employees? What do you need to do to get them back on track? And the this can be difficult, especially coming into 2025. We're ramped up, we're ready to go. We have a huge set of goals and lists in front of us, and we are ready. And when we're looking at disengaged employees, the first thing is important to tell the difference between somebody who's no longer a good fit for the team, somebody who's just, it's kind of ready for them to move on to what's next, and those who are truly disengaged, those who are needing help to get back onto focus with the team. So somebody who's maybe it's a skill set, maybe it's a time of life, maybe it's a difference in direction and mission, and they're just ready. It's time for them to move on. Those that are disengaged, most often they're those that are pulled back. They used to be a high achiever. They used to be really engaged. They used to have conversations, but now they're just kind of like pulling back, and that's usually a root of frustration. Maybe a standard operating procedure changed, maybe a mission, or there was some change in leadership that caused them some frustration. And rather than fighting and figuring out how to live within this, they've just kind of said, I'm out. They just kind of shut down. I'm just going to punch my clock. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna bounce. That's who we're talking about. How do you help re-engage somebody who is maybe frustrated and needs help re-engaging? So if you're here and you've been a part of the channel for a while, you know that I don't believe there's usually quick fixes. A lot of leadership doesn't have quick fixes. It takes time, focus, and energy to change, and that's true of this. What I want to help give you some maybe thoughts to help focus your conversations, to help lead you in a new direction, and maybe kind of grease up the gears so that you're not spending so much time trying to get that person back on track. The first thing we need to do is rebuild trust with empathy. Rebuild trust with empathy. And I talk about empathy a lot, and I do believe that it's a new skill that leaders are going to need heading into the future of work and leadership and volunteerism is having empathy, truly knowing somebody, seeing somebody, not just as somebody who produces widgets, who pushes out goals and hits these markers and does their task, but somebody who's a human being, who has a life, who has desires, who has goals, who has dreams, and understanding where they're coming from. Taking that time to build empathy and to know that person, what's going on in their life, having those conversations. And again, that's not trying to help push them to produce, but just simply understand them. Just simply to see where they're at with their frustration. And again, this is a skill I know you're going to need leading into the future. So rebuild that trust through empathy. The next thing is address misalignment, having that difficult accountability conversation. And I am never one who talks about pulling down bars. I don't believe in that at all. And here's the thing, if somebody's already disengaged, if somebody's already kind of ho-hum about what's going on here, pulling down the bar just shows them that it's not as important. It doesn't really matter. This isn't something that we care about. That's what happens when we pull down bars. What we want to do is say, hey, here's the bar, here's our expectations, this is what we need you to do, and I want to have a conversation about how to get you there. Because I care about you and I want you to be successful. Not because I need you to produce all these widgets. That's not the goal. I can get anybody to produce widgets. That's what I want, is for you to be excited to show up here and to meet our expectations. What's that going to take? And here's the thing. These are difficult conversations. These are hard conversations, but that's what makes you a leader, is you're willing to engage with somebody and dive into them and have these conversations. And I know I had this conversation with somebody today. How do you get more comfortable holding people accountable? And I don't know if you ever really do. I don't know if you ever get more comfortable holding somebody accountable. But one thing that I think does help is shifting from like, oh, how is this going to blow up in my face, to I really need to have this conversation because their success depends on it. And if I don't, I'm doing a disservice to them. And it's that little shift that makes us say, man, I really don't want to hurt them, to being like, I need to talk to you about this because I care about you. And that, again, that's the foundation. We work differently for people we know that care about us. When somebody cares about me, I'll fight for them. I'll work extra hours for them. I'll go harder for them because I know they care. And if you're just trying to get me to produce widgets, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. I'll produce them, but I'm not going to fight for you. I'm not going to go hard for them. I'm going to clock out when I'm supposed to. But if you're somebody who really wants to see me succeed, let's go. Let's storm the mountain. So having difficult conversations helps that person know you're for them, you care about them, and also, here's the expectations. I believe you can achieve them. Let's figure out how to make that happen. Next, focus on meaningful recognition. And I'm not talking about giving them a firm good job handshake or even a bonus every quarter. Like, those things are great and important, but I'm talking about having specific, focused, consistent recognition and letting them know you are seeing the work they're doing. You do know how hard they are doing, and it matters to you. Not because, again, it's helping you meet your goal, but because you're seeing the effort they're putting in. And it's great knowing that you got a team who's putting in the effort, and that means a lot to you. It's giving consistent recognition. If you do that once a year or once a quarter, it doesn't matter. Recognition matters when it's consistent and it's focused, specific, and it's not just, months and months in between. Next, to think, this is kind of a difficult one, and maybe won't apply to everybody, but how can you empower them to take leadership of something? Maybe there's a frustration that they have, a project that they can accomplish that you can let them go. And this is difficult for a couple of reasons. One, it's hard to fully let somebody take a responsibility. We tend to kind of give them maybe the ball, but we got that string so we can just tug it back whenever we need. Or we're always trying to make it look like how we would lead, and instead we're not letting them truly lead and own it and handle the problem. And not every job is theirs where you can really let them off and let them go. But maybe there's something specific where there's a frustration that you can hand off to them and say, hey, I know this really matters to you, and I know we need to do better at this, so I want to empower you to do that. And I want to stand behind you, and I want to stand in front of my bosses and let them know I support you. So how can you empower them to lead inside your organization? And the last one is probably, well, no, not probably. It is the hardest one. Consistent follow-up. Consistently following up with them. And that means holding them accountable, having conversations with them, like seeing them and recognizing them, letting them lead. This is that consistent follow-up. When you do it once a quarter, when you do it for a yearly evaluation, it truly shows, hey, I only care because my boss cares about this report. Not because you're a human being and you're a part of my team and I lead you, so I care about you. Because that's what leaders do. If you lead somebody, you need to care about them. You need to help them achieve, and you need to put it in. But it takes time, effort, focus, and energy. And I know you have 100 things coming at you all the time. Your boss, vendors, all these things are trying to vie for your attention. And so staying consistent with follow-ups and one-on-ones and recognition and being the type of leader emotionally that you need to be that walk in every day is extremely difficult. There is no doubt. But nothing will disengage your employees faster than having an inconsistent leader, somebody who props up an agenda or a specific mission only to see it disappear inside of 3 weeks. Nothing is more disheartening for your people than seeing you say, we're going to do this, and then not ever talk about it for another 6 months. That will break down any employee and will strengthen that disengagement. So we need to remember, when we're trying to engage our disengaged employees, we need to have empathy, see them where they're coming from, have difficult conversations where we hold them accountable. We want to give them praise and recognition consistently. We want to, if able, give them leadership things, and we need to be consistent. These things are difficult, but I'm here to help. I'd love to talk to you about how you can grow your leadership skills and how you can become the leader your organization needs. Feel free to reach out to me. It's coachingforgrowth.me is our website. carldpeterson@gmail.com is my email. I'd love to connect with you. We'll see you soon.